My name is Linda. My daughter's name is Chanel. And somewhere between April 12th and April 14th, my daughter died of a overdose from methamphetamine laced with a lethal amount of fentanyl. She left behind six children. She left behind two sisters, a brother, and both of her parents. And she left behind all the difficulty of living with an addict. She left behind the anger. She left behind the fear of not being good enough. She left behind the guilt. She left behind the hurt. She left behind the shame. My daughter left behind all the all the bad moments that we didn't say the right things. She left behind all the times that we didn't hug her and we didn't say, "We love you." She left behind all those times that we made the wrong choices. And in the end, every family member, including her children, are trying to clean up all those pieces. Everybody is sorting through all of those things, all those pieces of grief that we may never resolve, all the times that we didn't do the right things, say the right things, the last words, the last moments. I live with those in my head. My grandchildren live with those in their head. We we live with some of the most darkest periods of my daughter's last few years when she was in late stage addiction. And when somebody goes into late stage addiction, the family also goes through a phase of hopelessness, exhaustion, burnout, frustration, anxiety, fear, resentment, indifference. Some family members just cut them off at that point, and that's why you see a lot of people like living on the streets. Their family has said, "I don't have it in me anymore. I simply can't do this. I don't have an ounce of me left to give." And when you're in the late stage of addiction, you have been giving and giving and giving over and over again. And you're tired and you're exhausted and you become very self focused because you haven't given yourself anything. You've used your time and energy to focus on them instead of you. And it's the same if you hurt yourself. If I slam my finger in the door and I break it, for a period of time, my focus is on that broken thumb. When I sleep, I'm aware of where it's at. I move my hand around and I make sure not to bump it. If you get on the elevator with me and you stand next to me without even thinking about it, my hand will move away from you because I don't want that thumb to be re injured. And there is a part of me that I'm not even aware of that is protecting that part of my thumb to heal it. And I think that when you are with somebody that's in a late stage of addiction, you go into that mode where it's self preservation and you focus on trying to heal it and not get it injured anymore. For the addict, when they go into that late stage of addiction, they have fought so hard, they're tired, they're hopeless. They don't know what to do to stop anymore because they've tried every single thing that they can think of. They are faced with a list of things that they have failed at in their head. They are hopeless to reach all the things that they want to reach. My daughter wanted to be a mother so bad. My daughter wanted to be a giving part of our family. And she had about 2 or 3 years of good recovery time under her belt, and she did get to have that. And I'm so grateful that I got to have that with her. And I'm so grateful for in her addiction that we got that period. I'm grateful for the times that me and her sat at the nail salon and we laughed. I'm grateful for the times that we sat in the kitchen together and we cooked and the long early morning conversations over coffee. I'm so glad that we had all those moments where There wasn't chaos, there wasn't fighting, and nobody had to worry about protecting themselves. Everybody was safe, and everybody was free to be who they wanted to be. Those are the times that we went to the beach together. Those are the times that we did a lot of fun things together. We played games at Christmas. We laughed together around the table. And those are some of the greatest memories that I have of her. Her addiction took her to a point where she couldn't remember who she was anymore. And she couldn't remember that person that was the cheerleader of the family. She couldn't remember the person that had, from the ground up, built a business and was making about $10,000 a week on some weeks. She was that person that had fought real hard and worked real hard for everything that she had. She was that person that gave her sister and her brother, and she was that a job, and she was that person that donated her time and her money to people that were less fortunate. My daughter got to be that hero, and she got to feel that applause in life before she died, and I'm so grateful. I'm so very grateful. But this bigger story with my daughter Chanel is that no matter how much you rise from addiction, how strong you become, and how untouchable you may believe you are from addiction, you are not. Addiction creeps around the corner, it hides in the dark places of life. And when you're most vulnerable, it doesn't come out and attack you in a big way. It starts to attack you in a small way. It comes at you as an energy drink. It comes at you as uh, an energy pill. It comes at you as no dose. It comes at you in a small way that you think will be no consequences, like just smoking something. But it never intends to stay small, and it comes in small and insignificant so it goes unnoticed, but it becomes big overnight and it takes you down. And it had took my daughter down so much, and my daughter had rose up so many times from this beast. At the end, she didn't know how to win the battle anymore, and at the end nobody in her family knew how to win the battle either. We all were battle beaten and laying in the battlefield bleeding, and none of us could help anybody anymore. I wasn't in a position to help my daughter. I wasn't in a position to do anything but just take my next breath. And there was an awareness in me that knew that. And I think there was an awareness in my daughter because I had sat down and had this conversation with her and said, this is what we once had and this is what we got, and this is not what I want. I want what we had. I want my daughter, and here's the sad thing. I don't even see you anymore. I don't even I don't even remember you anymore. All I remember is the addict. And I want my daughter back. And I want you to please fight one more time and bring her home to me. And the day that I dropped her off and wanted her to go into treatment, she texted me a few hours later and she said, I do understand. And I do love you for everything you've done and everything you will ever do. And I'm going to fight and I'm going to win. And we don't know. My older daughter believes that my daughter didn't overdose. She believes my daughter was murdered for whatever reason. And she's going to pursue that. And maybe she's right, because sometimes my older daughter, a lot of times my older daughter is right. So we will see how that goes, and we'll see how that kind of pans out. But it's very difficult in the late stage of addiction, not just for the addict, but for everybody, for every one of her children, her dad, her siblings, and for my daughter. We all greatly suffered.